Hi. Imagine being kicked out of the company you started and having to watch it become successful, then coming back years later to save it from bankruptcy. Sounds like a Hollywood movie, right? Well, that's the story of Apple. Today, Apple is worth trillions of dollars. I mean, people wake up and reach out for their iPhones, MacBooks fill classrooms and offices, AirPods are everywhere, and the Apple Watch has become one of the world's most popular watches. I mean, but none of this is guaranteed. Apple's journey is filled with failures, bold decisions, and incredible comebacks. So, how did Apple become the tech giant we know today? Let's find out. So, like you, I'm just fine. I'm just like finding out and like doing my whole research. So, I'm reading all this off my laptop. Steve Jobs wasn't the stereotypical engineer. He was born in 1955, adopted shortly after birth. As a teenager, he loved electronics but was just as interested in art, design, and philosophy. He attended college for only one semester, dropped out because he felt his parents were spending too much money on his education. Then, instead of following the traditional path, he took classes that interested him, like calligraphy. At the time, it seemed completely useless, but years later, those typography lessons inspired the beautiful font and elegant design of the Macintosh computer. And now here's how Apple was born. So in 1976, Steve Jobs teamed up with his friend Steve Wozniak, an engineering genius. I didn't pronounce that name well, but like, working from the Jobs parents' garage, that's his parents' garage. The two built their first computer, that's Apple One or Apple I don't know. Then, unlike many computers of the time, it came already assembled, making it much easier for customers. It wasn't a massive hit, but it proved they had something special. A year later, they came with the Apple II. The computer changed everything, became one of the first highly successful personal computers selling millions of units. Apple quickly grew from the tiny startup into one of the fastest growing companies in America. By 1980, Apple went public. Almost overnight, hundreds of employees became millionaires. It looked like nothing could stop them, but well, trouble was already around the corner. I'm actually reading all this like story because like that's the way I like prepare the whole stuff. I don't know how to like do scriptings and like you know memorizing lines and all that. It's like a lot. The fall of Steve Jobs. Oh my gosh. In 1984, Apple introduced the Macintosh. Its famous 1984 commercial remains one of the greatest advertisements ever made. But I ain't ever heard of it. Well, the Macintosh introduced a graphical interface and a mouse features that made computers much easier to use. But despite its innovation, sales didn't meet expectations. Inside Apple, disagreements grew between Steve Jobs and the company's leaderships. Then in 1985, the unimaginable happened. Imagine creating a company in your parents' garage only to be kicked out less than 10 years later. Most people would have given up. Steve Jobs didn't. I would have. I would have gone to bed, slept. Here's where he did his whole big comeback. So, after leaving Apple, Jobs found a new company called Next. So, while Next computers weren't commercial successes, the technology behind them was incredibly advanced. At the same time, Jobs bought a small animation studio from Lucasfilm. That studio would later become Pixar. Oh, so they knew the bitch from 84. Or what year was that? Yeah, I didn't hear it. Well, so Pixar revolutionized animated movies like Toy Story, okay? So becoming one of Hollywood's biggest success stories. Meanwhile, Apple was struggling. The company released too many confusing products, sales dropped, profits disappeared. By the mid 1990s, Apple was dangerously close to bankruptcy. So, ironically, the company needed one person it had pushed away. Then in 1997, Steve Jobs returned. Well, I mean, he wasn't really doing really well on his own, so he had to come to the company he created because he's the only one that can bring it back. It's given, you know, those cartoons where like, you know, the main character has to be the one to come and like pull the sword out of like the rock. Yeah, that's what it's given special treatment type stuff. I know he was already favored. So now we're in the part where Steve Jobs like rebuilt Apple, like recreated the whole stuff, reinvented the whole shit. So Jobs immediately simplified Apple's products lineup. Instead of making dozens of confusing computers, Apple focused on making just a few, but making them exceptionally well. Then came a series of revolutionary products. In 1988, the colorful iMac. Then in 2001, the iPod. Then it completely changed how people listen to music. Instead of carrying CDs, you could carry thousands of songs in your pockets. Then Apple, oh sheesh. Then Apple launched the iTunes Store, making it easy to buy music legally online. Well, funny how I've never owned an iPod. I don't even know what it looks like. I do know what it looks like. I've seen it online, but I don't own one. I've never owned one. I've never even come close to seeing one. But the biggest moment came in 2007. Steve Jobs stood on stage and introduced the iPhone. That's what we'll be using today. iPhone 17 Air, iPhone 17 Pro. Okay, it wasn't just another phone. It combined a phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator into one device. The smartphone industry changed forever. Soon after came the App Store. Developers from around the world could create apps, turning the iPhone into much more than just a phone. This created an ecosystem that kept customers coming back year after year. Steve Jobs, you feeling like Mozart? Was it Mozart that painted the Mona Lisa? Who painted? Well, whoever painted the Mona Lisa, that's what Steve Jobs was feeling like because he created a masterpiece. And in today, Apple is much more than an iPhone company. Its lineup includes MacBooks, iPads, AirPods, Apple Watches, Apple TV, and services like Apple Music, iCloud, and Apple TV. Yeah. One of Apple's greatest strengths isn't just making products, it's making products that work seamlessly together. Oh yeah, they do actually work seamlessly together. Like, okay, you buy an iPhone, your AirPods connect instantly, you have your MacBook, you can transfer, whatever. But it doesn't work outside of the Apple ecosystem easily. Mostly when you're trying to send documents from Apple to like Microsoft or something like that. Really painful. So basically, Apple's story isn't just about, technology, but that's why we're here because I love tech. But it's mostly about, resistance, resilience, the whole, you gotta continue, like, you gotta keep going, like, keep doing that shit. People tell you it's not worth it, tell them, no, it is worth it. It's worth every penny I put into it, okay? It's worth every drop of my sweat, of my very, very, very hard sweat. Always remember to follow your dreams. All right, you have a dream in the night, and it's good. Follow that shit. Follow it. Don't take my advice. Don't take my advice. All right? So if you like this video and you want more videos like this, like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification button. Right? Yeah. Bye.